guest of the day. He is the Director of Program Delivery within Toronto Community Housing for the Regent Park area. His name is Will Mendes. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure to be here at the Regent Park Radio Network in the recording studio. I must say it's a pretty great place to be in.
Yeah. How you been? How's your week?
Week's been really good. Looking forward to wrapping up the end of summer with a little back to school drive for many of the young people in high school in Regent Park. So excited for the unfortunately, it's the end of summer, but looking forward to an exciting fall and hopefully a safe one for everyone.
Yeah. I'll say this. It is very unfortunate that the summer is ending. I've been having a great time. But that does lead me into the first question, where you said you're doing a back-to-school drive for Regent Park community members. Can you tell us what some plans are for phases 4 and 5 in Regent Park?
All right. So phases 4 and 5 are the last two phases part of the revitalization, and it's just so that everyone knows, it's the area that is located south of Girard, north of Oak Street, and extends almost from River almost to Parliament Street. So it's quite a large piece of the community. And to be honest, we actually don't know what we're going to be doing with phases 4 and 5 in the fall during this exciting period, which I mentioned. There's going to be an opportunity for everyone that lives in Regent Park to participate in something called a planning process to create a vision for what the community would like to see as part of phases 4 and 5. And we're going to use that vision and start thinking about and developing what we need to design and eventually build as part of phases 4 and 5.
So that also makes us curious. What are some amenities that have been suggested or have been, talked about?
Well, we do know that there's interest from the City of Toronto to introduce a library onto the onto the footprint of Regent, and that's very exciting. There's also been talk from the community so far about increasing spaces for the community and having community controlled spaces. Also, we want to see how we could introduce more retail, like more stores, and perhaps not like the same type of stores that you have right now, but different ones, so that way we get that diversity of opportunities for people to access across not only Regent but the surrounding area, and really has that diversity of retail that we're looking for.
Yeah, I think that's really one of the strengths of Regent Park, where it's so diverse with so many different cultural and ethnic backgrounds. You could have sort of like a community bazaar, but it just is the community.
I think Regent Park is one of those very vibrant and unique neighborhoods and communities in Toronto where it reflects the entire world, and there is. If it's like the world has come to Regent Park, and that is something that's really amazing about this community.
Mm-hmm. So the next question would be, what new amenities will be added, and does that include green space?
It definitely will include green space. We value green space, we value sustainability as well, and we want whatever we design to be, it's not only residential space, but there's also public spaces that everyone can access, which would also include, as you mentioned, green spaces. But in terms of amenities, what we do know is that each building has its own amenity spaces, but we're also like meeting rooms or multi-purpose rooms. Sometimes they have rooftop gardens and other types of spaces for TCHC residents to be able to have community meetings and do events and things like that. But in addition, we are looking at designing amenities that are for everyone in the public, and like everyone that lives in Regent Park, essentially. And we've yet to design those, and I'm really looking forward to the consultation process to develop that vision for phases 4 and 5, because that's where we're going to actually talk about what it is that should be built over there and what types of amenities are needed as part of the community.
Mm-hmm. So I heard like there's going to be a library that's opening. Could you follow up on that or anything?
It's so early in the process that we have not designed anything yet. This is something that we're going to talk more about as part of the conversations in the fall when we take a look at how do we design phases 4 and 5. Like this is literally at the very early steps of planning and designing, and we want to involve the community in that process. So we actually don't know.
Do you think a library is needed for the community?
I think from what I've heard from residents that live here, that community spaces like a library and others and other spaces for agencies that are here or new agencies or grassroots groups is very important to the community, and I believe those spaces need to be built. But it's up for the community to voice that need. It's important because young people need spaces. The residents living over here need spaces where they could access services or build out their own programs and be able to share that with others in the community. It's why Regent Park has such strong leadership, not only within young people, but also in the elders. There's a lot of community organizing and community leadership that exists here, and we need to definitely support the community and build the spaces so they can do their thing.
Mm-hmm. And so for the next question, it's what is the process in terms of high-rise and low-rise building plans?
So there is something called a master plan that was created when we started this revitalization, and that was like over 20 years ago, right? This fall, we're going to revisit that plan and re-envision it and take a look at if any changes need to be made to it. And as part of that, there will be something called a rezoning, meaning that we're going to change the original plan and have it reflect today's trends and the needs and wants of the community today. So that is all going to be taking place in the fall. And once again, maybe we do a follow-up interview or something like that in the fall, and we can talk more about this. But till today, we have not designed the buildings or figured out what heights or densities will take place in the phases 4 and 5.
I also know that either this week or last week, you had TCHC and Tridel have been doing a series of pop-ups for people from the community to come and just hang out. And could you tell us a bit about that?
Of course. In the last year, we've had a lot of changes take place where we haven't been able to meet physically, and I like the opportunity to come here and do this interview. However, we haven't had that chance to engage in person for over a year, and one of the things that we wanted to do while we had the great summer weather is to meet people outside and provide an opportunity to do some in-person meet and greets where residents got to meet Tridel, who's the developer for phases 4 and 5, and TCHC, and some of the consulting team members that are going to be part of this visioning process for phases 4 and 5. So it was really about relationship building, and since the weather was nice, we were able to do this outside and maintain physical distancing and ensure that we had a safe space for people to meet. And we wanted to do outreach, so that way when we do the actual planning process and we have to pivot or change to doing meetings virtually again, we at least know people face to face, and we could, hopefully they'll come out and participate in that consultative process.
Yeah, online Zoom meetings are just not the same.
Oh, definitely. It's but we really have to support each other to access Zoom and have that virtual engage virtually if that's what it comes down to. But if we're able to do it in person, we would love to. It's just we do need to abide by public health measures and ensure the safety and equitable access to the entire community to engage in the process.
And on the topic of equitable access, you guys are also doing, as you said earlier, a giveaway and a drive for back to school. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us about, I guess, the thought process behind that, why you felt it was important?
It was so Daniels Corporation and Tridel Builders, who are the two developers in Regent Park, and TCHC have been working very closely together. And one of the things that came out as an idea was to support students as they go back to school. And we know that Regent Park has hundreds and hundreds of youth returning back to high school or starting high school or almost completing high school and going on to other great things like college and university and other training institutions. So we wanted to support that, and what we did is we opened up registration and had people sign up to receive school supplies and backpacks and things like that, just to help with the financial pressures that people face during this time of the year when there's a big rush to stock up on everything you need to get prepared for school. And we really wanted to help people get set up for success. And part of that is to provide them, I wish we could give scholarships to every single person, obviously, but that's not what we could do. So instead, we're also we're helping people with back to school supplies.
Mm-hmm. And so for our last question, other than physical amenities, what programs does Tridel have to offer for youth in our community?
Mm-hmm. That is, I'm glad you asked that. So building on the many successes that have taken place in phases 1, 2, and 3 of the revitalization, Tridel, as the developer for the final 2 phases, has brought with them a lot of opportunities for the entire community, but specifically for youth. There is a proposal on the table to provide scholarships, funding for training, and employment, and also other things like supporting community-owned businesses, as well as many other things to support the social development plan in Regent Park, which helps with a whole bunch of different things from programming to communication to employment, community safety, and community building in general, right? Like building a strong community and making good connections. So Tridel has proposed a program that is valued at $26.8 million worth of community benefits. And within that, there is a very strong component around employment, and especially employment for youth, whether it be summer jobs, whether it be career jobs. It's not only just jobs in construction. There is jobs in offices, in the healthcare sector, there in retail opportunities, as well as like design firms where people have accessed a whole bunch of different jobs. But of course, there's also the trades where people have started their apprenticeships in carpentry, in electrical work, and plumbing. There's and the jobs range. Like there's like machine operators, there's flag persons, there's security guards, there's people that are pouring concrete. So you name it, there is an opportunity out there for people living in Regent Park and Toronto Community Housing to access through Tridel and through the other developers that we work with. So we really look forward to learning more as to what people would like as a career opportunity or their next job, and start connecting them with either the training program, or if people feel comfortable and job ready, directly into a job placement. And further to that, to make sure that Tridel's proposal makes sense for the entire community, we're going to be once again engaging as many people as possible who live in Regent Park in a 1-year process to finalize this agreement between Tridel, TCHC, around what are the benefits that they will bring, meaning what are the opportunities that they're going to be bringing to the community that is beyond just building great homes and great facilities and amenities. And we're really looking forward to involving as many young people as well as everyone else in the community in that conversation.
Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering how this process is going to take place, because I feel like if it's virtually, it won't really affect the community as much, or it'll only touch a certain amount of the community. For example, only condo users, which doesn't really help the community in a whole.
So to help us with getting the entire community engaged, whether it be virtually, whether it be in person, whether it be through a survey, whether it be through a phone call. We have staff at TCHC that work with with as many of the community agencies and community partners as possible, including the grassroots groups who have a direct connection with people that live in Regent Park. Much like Regent Park Focus Media, we are working closely with them to put up videos and interviews out on YouTube and on other channels, so that way people can get access and learn what's going on in Regent Park by Tridel and TCHC. We also have our community animator team, and our community animators are a group of people that live in the community that help us outreach further into the neighborhood and engage people in whatever the engagement opportunity is. So whether it be a survey, a meeting, you name it, or a community event, the animators are there to help. But that's not it. We also need the support of people like yourself, agencies like Regent Park Focus, as well as other agencies to get the word out there. We need community leaders and organizations to also, connect people to the process, so that way everyone can get as engaged as possible. And we're not just going to be, sending out a Zoom link and say, hey, come to our meeting. We also want to come to where people are. So whether it be the community gardeners, whether it be youth groups through the Scene Collaborative, or Youth Empowering Youth, or young people that are connected to different agencies, we're going to as best as we can connect with staff and youth leaders to get more people involved, especially young people and others who face some barriers to accessing like the online platforms or the engagement process to get involved.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That was a perfect response.
Yeah. I also, I'm just curious because earlier you mentioned the area that's the main focus of Phase 4 and 5, known colloquially, as Northside. What's the timeline for that? Being built and taken down and people moving in and out.
Unfortunately, I actually don't have an answer for that. But we anticipate that the completion of the Regent Park revitalization will be just over 10 years. It could be 10 to 15 years. It all depends on what it is that we're going to build. And first we have to figure out and we have to build that a vision of what we want as a community. So we want to engage people in that process. Once we have an understanding of what people would like, then we're gonna create the designs. And then we're going to ensure that the community, it's reflective of what the community wants. And then we're gonna go to the city and request permission to build that. And once that process is underway, we will have a better understanding of timelines. And we also want to ensure, and it's very important that as we build out phases 4 and 5, that we keep Regent Park as one community, and we don't have any sort of divides within the community that may have existed in the past. We want to ensure that everyone feels comfortable accessing every single square foot of Regent Park.
And, just before we leave off, I want to leave on a more wholesome note. As someone who is playing such a big role in the future of the community, what are some of your favorite parts of Regent Park?
So far from some of the newer things that have been created, I think a favorite space of mine is Daniel Spectrum. I really like the Spectrum space. It has brought together thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the years. I also like the athletic grounds. There's just so much opportunity that's over there, and it provides a really safe space for people to just have fun in sports and recreation and develop skills, meet people, develop leadership skills as well. And it also offers an opportunity for some of the older young people or older youth or younger adults, whatever you want to call them, to support other people that are developing their sports and recreational skills. And I find that to be really awesome. And another space that I find absolutely great are the community gardens. The community gardens really bring people together. I've seen A lot of people come out and just grow stuff organically, and it puts food on the table. It gives an opportunity to perhaps sell some items, make a little bit of income, and it also keeps people out of their actual homes and brings them out, and people get to connect with one another. So I think it's a really great opportunity for those who engage in community gardening.
I just had one last question. Since earlier you mentioned access, I just want to see how Tridel would apart themselves from Daniel Spectrum and actually give access to certain amenities, because we were talking about this earlier and we feel like us as youth don't get all the accesses that we could obtain in our neighborhood that's built for us. We can't access it because like Daniel has set it up a certain way. So how is Tridel gonna apart themselves?
So the Daniel Spectrum is the Spectrum space is set up in a particular way, and I think there's an opportunity for the community to have that ongoing dialogue to create better access to the existing spaces. In the future phases, as we design facilities or amenities, we definitely want the involvement of young people in that process, so that way we have a better understanding of how we can create spaces that are accessible, that are meaningful. That's not just like four walls and a window. It needs to make sense for what young people want to be able to do in their community, and it also has to make sense for agencies that are supporting youth programming. It has to make sense for them as well. So we have heard from some young people that access to spaces has become challenging over the years, and that is something we are very passionate to understand more about and improve on that and create spaces that make sense for everyone, including youth in the community. So that way, whether it be 8 in the morning or 8 at night or 11 at night, there's a safe space for people from the community to be able to interact with one another.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Will Mendes, Director of Program Delivery with TCHC. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end off?
Just would like to thank you guys and girls for having me here today, and really look forward to part 2 of this, where we can actually talk about a little bit of progress. We're once again going to start that really exciting process, which only took place over 15 years ago, and we're going to do it again, and then that's it. Like in those two, what has been called planning processes, we've designed the entire Regent Park. So really looking forward for people to getting involved in that, and thank you very much for having me for today.
Sure, thank you.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the little notification bell so you never miss out on any of our content. If you'd also like more, you can find us on our other social media platforms. And if you want even more, you can look at our website.